Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. Today I am in London, attending the first day of MCM London Comic Con. That means that, of course, that I've had to work feverishly in the couple of days before going up to London in order to make sure that I had plenty of videos pre-uploaded and scheduled for release, so you guys didn't have to go without your daily dose of jingles while I'm gallivanting around the MCM Expo Centre in my Judge Dredd costume. Today's video features the return of Crustade. Crustade seems to be coming into a sort of semi-regular series guest star in my World of Warships videos, but one thing you can guarantee, if Crustade sends a replay in, it's gonna be good. And he's been a busy little hedgehog. He's managed to unlock the German Tier 10 battleship, seen here in all its glory, the Großer Kurfürst. Look at the size of this ship. It's bigger than the Yamato. This thing's got its own postcode. Hell, this thing covers 2 postcodes. This ship is so big you could turn it into a map for World of Tanks. I think it might actually work quite well. Tank destroyers camping at the back behind the forward breakwater and on the light tanks skirmishing for spotting positions in the rigging. Mediums and heavies battling it out on the companionways and the ship's waist along the weather deck. I think it might actually work quite well. In fact, wargaming. I know you watch these videos. Top tip for next year's 1st of April joke. Let's see a World of Tanks map based on this ship. It'd be awesome. You'd be fighting each other, the ship's guns are going off, aircraft are coming in. You know it's a winner. Anyway, back to the battle. Not a lot happened yet. Target spotted. Unbelievably, Crustade is not spotted, but, well, that's going to change as soon as he fires his guns. Look at the surface detection range of this ship without firing the guns. Fresh out of the box, this ship has a surface detection range of 18.2 kilometers. Now, Crustade's managed to get that down to 16.4, so he's obviously invested something into reducing the visibility of this ship. But all of that goes out the window as soon as it fires its guns. The Currywurst, by the way, has the potential for a more devastating broadside than the Montana, the American Tier 10, and that's because, well, the Currywurst's second set of guns are an inch bigger than those of the Montana. That does, of course, require that you're inside secondary gun battery range. The German battleships do tend to have very impressive secondaries, and this ship is no exception. Its secondaries are incredible. They're comparable to the Yamato. And he's been spotted, so there's no sense in holding his fire anymore. Watch his surface detection range. Look at that. 28.5 kilometers. Holy crap. He could be firing these guns alongside in New York Harbor, and they would see him in Jersey City. You know, if he was in the center of this map and he fired those guns, that surface detection radius would actually expand to outside the map. Oh, it looks like he's going for the Chapayev. Gives it plenty of lead. Let's rip with all 12 of these guns. They are not terribly accurate, but, well, there's 12 of them. Throw enough shit at the wall, some of it's going to stick. Takes a couple of hits, and the Chapayev disappeared, but he did score 1 hit, and it was a Citadel. And you can see he's done 13,500 damage, so straight away that tells us he's upgraded the 406mm guns to the 420mm guns. And that Chapayev is probably not feeling very happy. It's quite surprising that those guys were shooting at that North Carolina rather than Crustade, because Crustade's presenting a much, much easier target to hit. I mean, he's big and he's broadside on, but, well, they're starting to shoot at him now. The Monty is turning away, bad target. The Bismarck, on the other hand, is showing much more ship to shoot at, so he fires at the Bismarck. Bismarck also returning fire, and that doesn't look too bad, and, well, yeah, disappointing. 7,500 damage from 2 penetrating armor-piercing hits. The Bismarck did actually manage to bounce 1 shot. And if these guys don't start shooting at Crustade now, they need to be taken out and beaten to death with a stupid stick, because he's the biggest target in the game, and he's shown them the broad side of the ship, and there it is. Yeah, he did start to speed up and turn away, but just a little bit too late, and I'm pretty sure he got Citadel there. Although it can be hard to tell with the Currywurst, because it's so huge and has so much health that a Citadel doesn't really register as that much damage. This thing has 105,000 health. Well, it had 105,000 health. He's lost about 20,000 of it now, and they're continuing to pour the fire in. That's the Rune getting a bit of revenge for the damage that he inflicted on him. Sets him on fire. And they're managing to lob the shells over the island there, but here it is. Check this out. Friendly Benson just spotted an enemy Kagero. Now, he's over 9 kilometers away, but just watch what happens when these secondary batteries get the range. And look how far away that ship is now when the secondaries open up. Close range for this thing is about 9 kilometers. Look at the secondary hits piling up there. He's set him on fire. More secondary hits. Bang. Sank himself a Kagero at 8 kilometers and got the Close Quarters Expert Award. There's nothing close about that. I think we can probably take it for granted at this stage that Crustade has invested in all of the skills and equipment that boost the effectiveness and range of your secondary gun batteries, and that's something that a lot of German battleship captains do because their secondaries are very, very good. This thing is hellish if you're in a destroyer or a light cruiser and you wander inside that secondary gun battery range. Oh, and there's that Rune. Rune thinks he's clever. Rune set Grosser Kurfürst on fire. Grosser Kurfürst fires 12 shells at the Rune, and that was at about 13.3 kilometer range. Accuracy? Pretty bad on this ship, but another Citadel, another 13,500 damage. His anti-aircraft gun's getting a bit of a workout as an enemy fighter squadron comes in and shoots down his spotter aircraft, but it's only enemy fighters. And oh, it's the Montana. And look at that target. Now, he can only fire the 2 front turrets, so that's only 6 shots. And you've seen how inaccurate these things can be, but he's never going to get a better shot at the Montana than this, and it looks pretty good, and oh, wow, 45,000 damage, 3 Citadels. He's just doubled. he's just doubled the amount of damage that he's done so far in this game, with 1 salvo at that Montana. The Montana's gotten away, but here comes the Bismarck. Now, he's swinging around so he can get the rear turrets and fire all 12 of these guns at him. He's holding his fire until the front turrets have reloaded. There go all 12 shots. And again, perfect target at even closer range than Montana. But German battleship inaccuracy. 8 hits out of 12 shots, but 5 of them were over penetration. Still, he did take half the health of the Bismarck off. For another 25,000 damage. And scored a bunch of secondary hits as well. He is now, however, safe from return fire from, well, anything over to his port side and to the rear. And there's an enemy Zhao. There's a friendly Iowa up ahead, just lost almost all of his health. I suspect the Zhao may have torpedoed him. The Zhao is not in a great position, however. He's cornered up against the side of the map with all kinds of enemy ships closing in. Crustade has a shot at him with his 2 front turrets. 2 hits, both over penetrations. The Iowa, however, is in deep trouble. I think it was torpedo hits from the Zhao that reduced him to low health, but it's the fire from the Bismarck and the Montana that's going to finish him off. Now, thanks to the smoke screen that's been laid by, I think, the Benson up there, you wouldn't have thought that the Bismarck and the Montana could see him, but he's been spotted by the Zhao. In fact, they're all being spotted by the Zhao, so smoke screen or not, those 2 battleships to the north are going to be able to keep firing at these ships, so that Zhao has to die. Now, the Zhao is angled, but only slightly, and he's just a cruiser, so that should not be a problem for these 420mm guns. Shouldn't be a problem. 6 shots fired, 1 hit, and it bounced off his armour. He's going to have to swing the ship around, not just because he wants to get these rear turrets pointed at the Zhao and finish him off quick, but also because he's going to have to point his armour towards the Montana and the Bismarck to the north. And that is going to leave him vulnerable at this kind of range if the Zhao has loaded his torpedo tubes. Rear turrets out, come on. That's more like it. Not enough to finish him off, but the secondaries are blazing away. The Zhao needs to go down because there's a smoke screen in front of him. If he can finish the Zhao off, and he does, the secondaries earn him a 2nd Close Quarters Expert Award, although there was nothing close about that, and he's now undetected, and he's got the Benson's smoke screen in front of him. Now, they're firing blind because he's a big old target and they know roughly where he was. It's possible that Crustade was actually deliberating, slowing down and sitting inside this smoke screen because all these enemy ships are spotted by aircraft, but, well, this ship is fast in a straight line. But it takes forever to slow down, so instead he powers on through and he goes for it. Now, who's he going to shoot at? Because that's a lot of enemy ships. The Montana, a choice of 3 Bismarcks. Who's showing him the best target? Here comes all of the incoming fire. And there's going to be a lot of incoming fire here. Montana, Bismarck, Montana, Bismarck. The Montana has not learned his lesson. He's showing him the side of the ship again. Come on. Secondary's opening up on the Bismarck. Disappointing damage on the Montana, but he has managed to set the Bismarck on fire. These secondaries are definitely earning their pay in this battle, and here come the dive bombers and the torpedo bombers. He is being shot at by 1 Tier 10 battleship and 3 Tier 8 battleships, as well as getting the undivided attention of the enemy aircraft carrier. He's been hit by the dive bombers. He is on fire. His guns are reloaded. He's going for the Montana again. Come on. Come on. He's taken a fearsome beating here. And again, the Montana just manages to escape destruction. Not quite enough. He's got the high caliber. He's on over 200,000 damage done here. His secondaries have hit that Bismarck nearly 40 times and set him on fire, but he's determined to finish off that Montana and deny him the opportunity to get away and recover his health. His rear gun turrets are ready to go. 6 shots out. He fires. He's thinking about using the front turrets on the Bismarck, assuming that the rear turrets take out the Montana, but they don't. 2 penetrations, not enough. 6 more shots out from the front turrets. He's got to finish off this Montana. Come on, come on. No, the shots went high into the superstructure. They're just over penetrations. The Montana has gotten away with it again. But Crustade is not out of the woods yet, because here comes the 3rd Bismarck and a New Orleans. Now, he does start to take a couple of hits here as his own secondaries open up, but that's the Bismarck's secondaries. The Bismarck is actually engaged in shooting at a friendly North Carolina over to the left. And since he is angled quite well and he's not actively shooting at Crustade, Crustade instead prepares to delete a Tier 8 heavy cruiser. USS New Orleans, bend over, grab your ankles, and kiss your ass goodbye. 257,000 damage. But Crustade has been lit up by the Bismarck's secondaries. His own secondaries have hit that Bismarck 24, 25 times. He's burning. But it's going to be the friendly carrier, the Taiho, with the torpedoes, who takes the Bismarck out, just as Crustade extinguishes the flames and survives with less than 2,000 health remaining. He's going to be able to start recovering some health very, very soon, and there's yet another Bismarck presenting yet another perfect target. Range is just over 14 kilometers, 12 shots out. Come on, baby, Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. Bingo, got him. The Montana has just been sunk by the friendly Benson. That leaves this Bismarck and the enemy carrier. Crustade is recovering his health. He's got the high caliber. He's got the Confederate. He's got a devastating strike. He's got 2 close quarter expert awards. It's this salvo for the Kraken Unleashed on the Bismarck. Shots out. Forward and rear turrets. Come on, baby, for the Kraken, before those dive bombers get here. 287,000 damage, 5 kills. But there are dive bombers coming in, and he's used his damage control ability. First wave comes in. It's only 1 fire. He can probably survive that. His AA guns are blazing away. They are pretty good, but the second wave of dive bombers scores another hit, does more damage, sets another fire, and he's not going to be able to do anything about that. Oh well. Credit to the friendly carrier, the Taiho. He did try to cover him with fighter aircraft, but, well, here's the thing. The Grosse Kurfürst's biggest weakness is against carriers. Now, that's only a Tier 9 carrier on the enemy team, but this thing is such a massive, slow-turning target that it's virtually impossible to miss if you're attacking it with dive and torpedo bombers. Also, don't forget that while the ship does have a pretty impressive anti-aircraft defense rating, it has that pretty impressive anti-aircraft defense rating at the beginning of the battle. At the end of the battle, when he's been bombarded by Bismarck secondaries firing high explosive and the Rune at the beginning of the battle firing high explosive, a lot of those anti-aircraft guns have been knocked out. And so it does become easier for a carrier to inflict damage on a battleship at the end of a game than it is at the beginning of a match. There's the enemy Essex. He's doomed. It's just a matter of time. Oh, he's managed to shoot down one of the dive bombers launched by the friendly Taiho. Camera switches back to... Actually, you know, at this point, when I was watching the replay, it occurred to me, the aircraft in World of Warships are actually modelled very, very well. I mean, look at that. If you know anything about aircraft, you can quite clearly tell that that's a Focke-Wulf 190 Dora. Floatplane version, obviously. That is quite a spectacularly nicely rendered Focke-Wulf 190D. And this is World of Warships. Now, Wargaming have a third World of game, don't they? There's World of Tanks, there's World of Warships, and then there's the one we don't talk about. And we don't talk about it because World of Warships renders the aircraft better than the other Wargaming title does. Oh, Jingles, leave World of Warplanes alone. Stop kicking it when it's down. I know. But it's such an easy target. Oh, come on, it's been a year since I gave World of Warplanes shit. I've been good. I think I deserve the occasional crack at them every now and then. Right, anyway, the Essex is doomed. He's coming under surface attack now. So let's cut to the chase and show you the battle results. Crustay was gutted that he didn't break 300,000 damage on that game, and he'd have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for that meddling carrier. But I don't think he's got anything to be really ashamed about with that performance. 287,000 is just going to have to do. And that's it for today. That's me at Comic-Con, hopefully having a great time. I'll give you the full details when I get back in Monday's Miggles with Jingles. As always, folks, take care, and I'll catch you next time.